Hi, I'm Saverio from HoRNet Plugins. Today I'm here to show you our latest plugin made in collaboration with the Buildzer, and we call that Corrosion. The name implies the sound of the plugin that it aims to bring something weird and some kind of illness to your track. It's a distortion unit and modulation unit made to create weird sound. The base of the plugin is the concept of the ring modulator. So you have your main signal that flows through the plugin that is modulated by a synthesized source like a noise or a synthesizer waveform, a saw wave, a square wave, and so on, or an external input. With this kind of effect, you can get weird digital sounds or more fatty analog ones because you can filter the modulator. So if you use, for example, the white noise white noise modulator, you can shape it and filter it just to have it work on the frequencies you want, making it less harsh and create a more soft modulation. Of course, you can adjust the amount of modulation, input and output levels. Input and output levels are pretty important in this plugin because during the whole signal path we have analog saturation. So if you drive the plugin hard, you are gonna get some transistor distortion in addition to the modulation one. You can also use this plugin as a standard saturator unit. Just drive it hard and set the modulation effect to 0. The interface is pretty straightforward, so I'm gonna show you how the plugin works and give you some example of how to make it useful. So this is the interface of Corrosion. We have the source modulation selector here. We can choose between noise, stereo noise, that is different between left and right channels, so it gives a wider idea of sound. A sine wave, a saw wave, a square wave, or an external input. Using an external input, you can use whatever you want as a source for the modulator. Then we have the filter section that filters the modulator sound, and in the case of noise is pretty useful because you can shape it to occupy the space you want, and you can choose between the band pass, the low pass, or the high pass filter. All the filters are resonant, and so you can get some more screaming sound than standard filters that are not resonating like this one. Of course, you have the analog saturation here that you can turn off if you want a more digital sound, input and output controls, the amount of effect control, and the track pitch control. When this flag is enabled, the filter frequency adjusts itself to the base frequency of the input signal, so that if you use a resonating filter, the resonator point changes according to the input sound. So this kind of effect is best heard than talked about. So I'm gonna give you an idea of how it may work on this bass sound here I designed with a pretty standard V-station synth. This bass sound is very clear, and we want to add some grit, some digital noise to that. So the first thing we are going to do is to use the noise source and choose the bandpass filter with a pretty high frequency and a pretty heavy Q for the filter. Something like that should work. Reduce the amount to about 30% and remove the analog saturation. Let's hear how this modulation makes the sound more present and more thumpy. Now, if we in addition enable the analog saturation and drive the input, we are gonna get some pretty fatty sound. Let's drive it very hard, 9 dB of gain, and compensate for the output, of course. So it's a pretty different sound, and it's a very interesting one if you want some heavy bass and more present than the regular very low bass you may have on some kind of music. If we wanted wider stereo image, we could use the stereo noise that uses two different noises from the left and the right signal, so you have a wider image. Already much more interesting, and if we, for example, set the filter at the maximum resonance, we can enable the track pitch and let it follow the sound of the bass. So I took the chance to change the filter type and let you see how it different behaves when I change from bandpass to low pass and high pass. Then I have to show you one last thing, but before I reset everything to 0, I want to show you the external input effect. If we choose an external input here, we can use an external sound to modulate the regular one, and have a pretty nice trick here to show you. I have chosen a signal generator generating 20 Hz bass frequency, bass sine wave, and then I'll use another track here where I recorded a small audio of my voice talking, and I use it to modulate this sine wave. We'll get pretty interesting results with the low pass filter. This is a test loop, a spoken voice to use as a modulator for corrosion. This is a test loop, a spoken voice to use as a modulator for corrosion. This is a test loop, a spoken voice to use as a modulator for corrosion. So, pretty nice, I think, and it's very particular effect. And if you want, you can also use a synth output to drive corrosion, external input of corrosion. So you can use the sound you want to modulate another sound, and it becomes pretty limitless. Corrosion is our latest plugin, and it's available on www.hornetplugins.com. You can go there and download the demo, and don't hesitate to write us if you have suggestion or anything to tell us about this plugin. So thank you very much for watching the video.